What's going on, and welcome to Black King's Free Game. Today is a very special day because not only do I have three wonderful people sitting beside me, I have the Liberty County chapter of the NAACP right here on the show. Right here on the show. So, look, you guys better stay tuned, get ready, take notes. There's going to be some events coming up that you do not want to miss. And I'm here with Miss Lisa, Miss Gwen, and Mr. Rose. Now, Miss Lisa Thomas is the president of the NAACP here in Liberty County, and they have graciously given some time so that we can sit down and discuss some things. So, we always start off with Miss Lisa. How was your week?
My week has been awesome. We're preparing the Liberty County NAACP Chapter 5212. We're preparing for our Juneteenth dinner and fashion show, which will be held on June 22nd at the Sam Harris Gym here in Midway. So we're getting ready for that. Okay.
Now, the Sam Harris Gym. I remember that when I was a young boy, and I was in there playing the parachutes. We used to play dodgeball. The basketball hoop was up, but it was only one. It was only one.
Only one?
It was only one. But now it is many. When you go in there, it's beautiful. They got the stage set up. It's a wonderful place to have events at.
Yes.
So, yes, I definitely will be in the building.
Yes, well, hopefully we have something a little bit more in store for you.
Okay.
Well, let me just give you a little taste of a little taste of what we're going to do. The celebration, we have the MLK choir. They'll be singing. We have Hermina, our own historian, Hermina Glass Hill, who will be giving the prayer for our ancestors. And each table will have a candle where they're going to light it and we'll pray. And then we have our own chairman, Donald Lovett, who's also a historian, who will give us the history of Juneteenth. We have music by our very own Bernard Rose, who's a world-renowned saxophone player. Did you know that he played with Kenny G?
Kenny G?
Oh, was it Kenny G? Or David Sanborn? Was somebody? Some of them big shots.
I don't know about that. Maybe that was the other Bernard.
I know that he's been around. He's played with some big shots. So.
Okay.
We have him. And then we have some good food. Awesome, our caterer, Deborah Bennett from God's Anointed Hands.
Okay.
Oh, that woman, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just a taste of just a hint of the food. We're gonna have some hot fried fish right there on site. I'm not can't tell you the whole menu, but we're gonna have some collard greens, some string beans, and some other goodies, some other delights.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have our fashion show, and plus we have our king and queen, our Juneteenth king and queen, and they are the seniors of Liberty County.
Oh, wow.
Mrs. Stevens Clay, who's 103.
Oh.
She's our queen. And we have Mr. Green, who's 92. He's from Sudbury. He's our king. And that's where I'm going to come kind of pull you in. Because you remember last year, you announced our king and queen.
Oh.
You remember?
I do. Yes, I do remember that. Yes, I enjoyed that.
Yes.
We were outside, too.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Now, Ms. Gwen, how was your week?
My week was awesome. It was awesome and very busy each day. We had Vacation Bible School going on at our church, which encompassed not only just the young people, but it was on up through the adults as well.
Okay.
So there was something for everyone, in addition to trying to prepare for today.
Yes, and I'm glad that you guys came in. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys showing up and sharing some of this knowledge that we're going to talk about. Mr. Rose.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Mr. Rose. You got to put that jazz effect on it.
I'm going to put my horn in his hand and see what he does with it.
How was your week, sir?
I had a great week. I'm never, the old saying is it's better to be seen than viewed. Well, I've had a great week. I'm alive and well. And, a lot of things going on. Hands are just full sometimes preparing for a lot of things. I have events coming up that I have to play at, like you're showing in Savannah tomorrow. In fact, 2 of them. And so I've been pretty busy on those preparations.
Getting down. It's the saxophone, right?
Yes.
Player.
Yeah, right. Look, it's some things that we're going to talk about today. And I'm just very interested because I remember my mother talking about the NAACP when I was growing up. And I remember even seeing, in movies and everything, you hear about the NAACP, and that was it. Now, what are some of the things that the NAACP has planned for like the community as far as involvement? Is there anything planned right now, or?
Right now, we're working on the Juneteenth celebration, but in August, let me just take a step back. This past election that we have over 70,000 people who live in Liberty County. We have over 40,000 people who are registered to vote.
Yes,
right?
and only
5,000 people voted. So that is shameful.
yes.
It is. It's just unacceptable.
Right.
Yes.
And the problem that I had, that I've heard that we were like other communities. And Liberty County, what Donald Love would say, we are Liberty County proud. That's not showing any kind of pride whatsoever. It's just shameful. So
Yes.
our plan is, the political action. First of all, I should say our political action chair is Reverend Deron Harper,
Right.
and
Okay.
his plan, his plan is to have a round table, a rectangle table, a long table, but we bring all the community groups, social groups, because we have bike clubs, car clubs, tricycle clubs.
Yes.
Sororities, fraternities.
So now that leads to another question I had. Well, I was going to ask, what is the NAACP doing about recruitment? Now, because you got some brash people that probably needs to might be a little brash, but I remember when you said the NAACP's name, some people would be shaking in their boots. They would step back and say, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. And I want that back again.
I do too.
I really
We all do.
We all
Yes,
do.
yes.
Exactly. We have to have it back.
Yeah, we gotta come. Once again, everybody knows I say we need to unite. We got to get together. We got to lock arms, and it's not about everything that we believe in. You can believe one thing, you can believe another, you can believe another. Does that mean that the overall goal can't be met?
No.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of our faults come in our disagreements. Our disagreements makes us want to step back from the whole situation, right?
Exactly.
So when things like that happen, that's what you have is just the separatists. Everybody has their own. I'm in my own little world, and I'm not worried about. No, I don't want to do that way, so I'm not going to participate.
And that's why we're in the situation in not only in Liberty County, but in this country
Yes.
that we're in. It's
And
my-
what we have to understand is that we have a goal. We have that same goal, and there are different paths to get there. The paths may change, but the goal never changes.
Yes.
So we got to stay focused. We got to stay focused. And if there's anything that you're not educated about, that's where we're coming in. We want to educate you to our political system. A lot of people just don't understand. And it's like, well, where do you fall in that? What they did was back in the day. I fully understand that. Yes, I marched. I marched and attended meetings with the NAACP, and guess what? I had my kids right along.
Yes.
So they could be exposed to be educated to the fact of what the NAACP was.
It was a lot more involvement, and I agree. And see, we've lost touch with the involvement because I believe that society's really been taught to disinvolve your kids from any type of situation that would not just give them the pretty picture of what the world is. Does that make sense?
It does.
We got to coddle them and shelter them from what reality is, and then when they get out there, they can't even recognize reality.
Exactly.
They're so totally shocked.
Yes. So,
It's complete distractions that were made to our youth. And it's sad because, as Gwen said, we marched. And then when our kids were coming, some of us took our kids and had them exposed, but the other ones, they said, well, I don't want my kids to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
So they wanted to hide the fact of the struggle. Well, the struggle has never went away.
Right.
The struggle is live and present. It's even more so.
yeah, because we got blinded to it. Because when you say, I don't want my child to live that, they're going to live it anyway. They're just not going to recognize what's going on.
Right.
Instead of them saying, oh, well, I'm being put off this way, they're going to say, well, I don't know why they don't like me.
Right.
What do you?
See?
I can tell you if you're actually doing everything right. You know what? Let's see. You're doing this right. You're doing that right. What is not like the other? Then tell me what the truth is. And we're afraid of that because everybody thinks that's going against the system that's being set up.
Well, one thing you have, just naturally speaking, you have the Pareto principle to start off with, just meaning 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Well, for those 80% of the people that don't really do anything and don't contribute, half of them don't even understand the extent or length or the issues that are at hand to even respond about to start to do something in the first place. Which goes back to what you're saying and what Miss Lisa is saying also, that there is a blindness. It's kind of like, if you would, a lot of people are in a situation where there is a lack of clarity of understanding all the issues that are on the table.
Yes.
It's kind of like you're looking at the table, but it's really covered with a handkerchief, and you pretend that the stuff is not really under there.
But it's there.
But it's there.
Yes. And that brings me to a while ago, and y'all can beat me up if you want to, but a while ago there was a big thing about the Confederate statues, right?
Yeah.
Now I was so much, I said, don't y'all remove them statues. This is what I want you to do. I want you to put on there, here stands the guy that was defeated. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now I get that, but people want to be very emotional about it, right? Mm-hmm. And I get the emotions, but those emotions need to be remembrance. Mm-hmm. It needs to stand there so that even in that, if you want to have shame on them, shame. Mm-hmm. Because at the same time, we're teaching our children, this is what this person did. Now, naming them after certain things, I don't agree with, because if you lost, you lost.
Yes.
If you lost, you lost, right?
But they don't even realize this. Let's just talk about Confederate statues. The people who say that's their heritage, they don't even realize that they lost, because they're out in the spotlight. They have, the media is giving them more coverage of winning than losing. Mm-hmm. They make the loss a win because of the way it's being covered.
Yes.
I'm in completely disagreement with you. I want them all to be knocked over and bulldozed. But even with that point, about 5 years ago, before COVID came, we almost had that Confederate monument removed from in front of the old courthouse.
Okay.
But COVID came. They were going to pick it up. They were looking for an actual location to put it in. But
so it's still there.
It's still there.
So,
No, go ahead.
well, since we are at words with art,
Yes.
how about we, if y'all are still going to pick that up, could we have a discussion about putting up some type of placard until it's taken down, stating what is not the good? Does that make sense? And I know that's gonna ruffle some feathers, but the truth on everything else is out there. They want everything else to be accepted, right? Mm-hmm. They want everything to be accepted. So let's let them accept the truth. Here is the defeated such and such and such. And put all the history there.
Well, it's kind of interesting you should say that, because one of the things that came to my mind is, okay, let's say those statues aren't mowed down. Well, it would be a lot, I think, give a better panorama of the events that occurred, that if we were erecting additional statues that speak to the history of not just those folks who during that time they erected those statues during those years. I think it started in the 1800s up through about 1925, basically to represent the Confederacy, the things that the Confederacy stood for in regards to what they were keeping alive or wanted to keep alive in regards to suppression of black vote, all the other stuff that's related to all of the issues that pertain to us as a second-class citizenship. Well, we need to start bringing those statues in, like the King statue and the statue that the NAACP should be erecting at some point in time to share about the history of what that organization and other groups and other individuals have done, so that it's a panoramic picture of what's taking place, so that it's not that it's about what certain people were doing and attempting to do, to say, in spite of the fact that things have changed and we've had the lifting of Jim Crow laws, and because of desegregation and all those things that occurred, some people wanted to stay like it was, to keep the status quo.
Yes.
But then what we should do is look for ways to demonstrate the accomplishments, the achievements of what has happened with us, and not just black people, but the fact that there are many people that stood with us during those times, and we should have stuff demonstrating that on the public square too.
Well,
I agree.
But just to speak of that, excuse me, State Representative Al Williams, he is working on having the Ralph Quarterman statue being erected and placed in between the courthouse, on the county commissioner building and the courthouse, and that would be the first black man ever on grounds like that.
That's exactly.
So that's important.
Yes.
Now, I have a question, since we did hit on the Confederates, and so since I have wisdom around the table, all right, this is my outlook right now. I want to know the Dixiecrats. Y'all remember that? Okay. Dixiecrats was the Democratic Party.
Right.
All right. And then in I believe it was 1960s, they flipped their platform.
Yes.
All right. And originally Republicans were the Black 93rd Party, right? Because everything that was done that makes sense, and they knew that we were making sense, they want to try to take it over and make it their thing. Okay. So right now, if you watch social media and you see a lot of things, people are turning, and it's scary. They're turning. So I want to know what it is that we can do in our local government to show them that don't look at all the way up here to the top. Look right here in your local community, so that our youth can start being attached to our unity again, because they're so torn. They're torn into entertainment. They're torn into anything that makes them feel any type of emotion. They'll swing that way and say, "Oh, this is right," with no background check. Well, what do you feel that we can do to bring that solidarity here in Liberty County?
We have to make sure that they understand that everything that sounds good is not good.
Yes.
And we have to educate them. What they're trying to take away from our history, who we are, our kids didn't experience all of that. So they're thinking, well, it's okay. No, it's not. No, we have to pull together. And that calls for all of us to pull together, to educate the people in our community and let them know it's our officers here in the community that we need to focus on. Yeah, the presidential election is a good thing, but the local elections is what's going to have the major impact upon you.
Yes.
And have to point out the ways that this happens.
Look,
Exactly.
I completely agree with that. We want to give shots out to Chris Bell, Robbie Bacon, Bertha Wyndham, Latrell Bacon, and Sheriff Bowman, Johnny Sapp, everybody that's watching you, Kings and Queens. We appreciate you watching. Don't forget to go to YouTube. I want you to type in Black Kings Free Game. Once you type that in, hit that subscribe button for me, because we will be doing Black Kings and Queens After Dark here soon, and we're going to be giving out prizes, and we're going to be having some deep discussions, because we got to get to the nitty gritty, and you got to see how people can disagree and at the same time see that common goal to agree to. So if everybody can understand that when there's a disagreement, that's a collection of information.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I might not, I've been in a situation where I didn't agree with someone, but you know what I did? I shut my mouth and I listened.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen out of anger or like, hurry up and finish so I can respond.
Right.
Right.
I had to listen and say, okay,
Right.
oh dang, that makes sense.
Exactly.
I agree with you.
And,
Right.
and Mark, you know something very, very important. Regardless who the person is, you're not going to agree with them 100%.
No.
Yes.
Not your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister.
Right.
There will be people that you like them, but you're not going to agree everything on them. But
Yes.
back to the locally, we have to educate ourselves on the people who are running for office.
Yes.
Right? Because our local elections, the sheriff, you have to have the sheriff who you can count on, who you can trust, who wants to help you. The judge, who has a common interest, has a interest in making sure that you're okay. That when you go in front of him or her, that you're going to have justice, real justice. Your county commissioner, your city council members. All these people are very important to us, but not only here in Liberty County, but we have to think of who's going to represent Liberty County in Atlanta.
Yes.
Right? So we have a state representative who, I tell you, that's my cat.
Yes.
I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with him and I trust him for what the things that he does vote on.
Yes.
I know he has our best interest in heart. So we just like we had the Daniel Blackman who ran for oh my goodness, was it insurance or utilities commission? That young man, he had the education, the experience, the knowledge, and then we didn't vote. We didn't do our due diligence. We elected somebody who had no idea, was just put in a place by Governor Kemp. Stacey Abrams. We didn't do our due diligence.
No.
We have to. Atlanta in Georgia, the Senate and the House of Representatives. That's what we have to go back to civics. They control everything that we do. Our local government and then our state government. I'm glad we're going to vote for the president, but what happens in Atlanta affects us here at home.
Yes, you're correct, because if we don't have representation up there,
Right.
and well-versed representation,
Right.
because yes, it counts on who you know.
Right.
And I will say this about Unc Al. I call him Unc Al,
Yeah.
Representative Al Williams.
Yeah.
He's been there.
Yes.
Yeah.
At one time, he was a babe in it.
Yes.
But now he's well versed,
Yes.
and he's not. And I'm not going. He's not slowing down. This
No.
man, he's full of knowledge.
Yes.
He's full of delivering what the people need to hear and how they need to hear it.
Yes.
Exactly.
So representation does count.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes.
Very much so.
And with representation, if we don't have our youth reaching out to be in these positions, you don't want to imagine what our representation is looking like,
Right.
because a lot of them are out there. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Correct.
Like you said, getting to know who's running. That was the purpose of our political forums,
Yeah, and my show. I was going to say that, but go ahead. Yeah. Yes.
to educate.
Yes.
To educate the citizens of Liberty County. And awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
It was.
And
I
there were
was at
those
both
who
of them.
showed up.
Yes, I was there. I had to represent. I was like, yes, let's go. Because the thing I like was I had when I had the show going, my thing was, you know what? These people don't know people.
Right.
Exactly.
They really don't know people.
Right.
So it didn't matter if I had to reach on this side of the table or that side of the table. I wanted everybody to get their fair shake. Come have your discussion so people can get to know who you are in the community.
Exactly.
At the same time, people learn some people's intelligence levels.
Right.
Some people learn some people's character and their facial expressions as a person. You can really judge someone and know if they're telling the truth, that they're passionate about something, because it free flows.
Yes.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And with free flow discussions, you get to really know people.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I'm going to say this live on camera. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. But even during this political campaign, a real close friend of mine, I was trying to help out and give them pointers. And I think that a lot of people don't really understand politics.
Right.
So they take everything the wrong way, because I've never been a yes man. I've always been that person to I'm going to tell you like it is, whether you like to hear it or not, because when I tell you and it pop up, you're like, well, dang, you said that. But a lot of people don't like to say that either.
Right.
But I wish every person the best. I want them to stand on it because every person that won the elections, right? I want you to know this. You represent us.
Yes.
You
absolutely.
represent us.
Absolutely.
So if you fail, we fail because we're going to hear about it.
That's right.
Right.
Because all they're going to try to do is rub that dirt in our face. Look at there. Look, y'all elected them. Y'all did it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
the people who won,
Yes.
they are good.
Yes.
They know what they're doing. The people who ran against them, and I have to say, you have to do your research. If I want to run for office, I'm going to do my research to know what they do from start to finish.
Yes.
You know, it's not easy. It isn't easy.
And for all of those who won, they should be very much aware that we're going to hold them to it.
Yeah.
We're going to hold them to it because they represent us.
Us. And that's the big thing.
And politics is one of those arenas where the tides shift, things change.
Yes.
Some people can go in with full intention to do certain things, and then, of course, because of the political climate, atmosphere,
Right.
things shift,
Have
and
to
they do
shift.
something else. And the biggest thing we do at the time, initially, the election is, like you all are saying, we become informed. Most of us do. I'm not going to say most of us. Many of us become informed. We know tidbits, or we know maybe a good solid working of what the person does. But the biggest thing I've always said about politicians is the challenge is not necessarily going to the booth and electing the person you want. The question is, do you really hold them accountable
All
for
right
their
now.
decisions
All right.
after they are in office?
That's the word.
Doesn't mean they're going to do everything perfectly
Perfect, no.
well.
Yes.
But you'll find that there's some politicians that they literally were on one side of the coin, and then they did a total flip
Flip.
once they're in that position of power. And so those are just things that and I do think we as people, sometimes we become disillusioned. We sort of become what I should say, sort of placid, because when we see that kind of thing happening for people we supposedly trust,
Yes.
you just kind of the winds get out of your sail. And now some people are tenacious.
Yes.
One thing I like about Miss Lisa,
Yes.
is I love her because I really do, because you don't have to worry about if she's thinking about something, she's going to stand on whatever particular position is. And why she's been really such an asset for our local branch is because she is one of those people that literally takes a position or something she can explain, she understands what her disposition is, and then moves forward with that, and you pretty much know what you can expect from her.
Yeah.
Regarding a matter. And I think that the same thing we need to kind of hold our people to, that we vote for and who say that they're taking this position, we need to hold them accountable in the same kind of way.
And I feel that we also need to have that sit down.
Yes.
I want every elected official to sit at the table and talk.
Yes.
I want every elected official, listen, as far as the 9 ether beings in Liberty County, we pretty much have every seat.
Yes.
All right. So why aren't we having a seat together to plan some things out that is beneficial for the community, to show the community? And I'm not just talking about just us.
Right.
I'm talking about our work speaking for itself.
Yes.
It shows that, oh my gosh, when they are combined and in charge, things start moving. It's like, oh my gosh, we just had this great thing and it was for everybody.
Everybody.
We can do it.
Because we are understanding people. I hate to keep saying it like that, but if you just think about the tenacity of our ancestors.
Yes.
I mean, I see some of these films that depict some stories, and I'll be like, oh, I couldn't have lived back then. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I promise you I'd have fought that. You know what I'm saying? I'm yelling at the screen.
I'm with you.
My mother conditioned me to all of that. She started getting the Root series. Do y'all remember Root?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Listen to me.
Kinte, are you
Kuta,
kidding? Oh, my
Kuta Kinte.
Yes.
Look,
Easy, yeah.
every month you would get a new video. That's how it was back in the day, guys.
Right.
Every month you got the first volume 1, then volume 2, then volume 3, and this was on VHS, yo.
Yes.
Right.
And I remember seeing those stories, and I was so excited back then. I was like, "Oh, Mama, the video here." She'd be like, "Okay, we'll watch it tonight." And we'd go get shrimp fried rice for wontons. And on the way home, we would stop by KFC, right, and get coleslaw. Now I know it's weird, you guys, but we don't care. That was our thing, okay?
Yeah.
And we would mix the shrimp fried rice with the coleslaw.
Oh my!
And that sweetness. Oh, listen to me.
Oh, wow.
You don't never know until you try it.
Oh my!
Okay.
Oh my!
That shrimp fried rice with coleslaw mixed in, it's got the sweetness with the savory. Oh my gosh! And you know what? I was 41 and I found out that one time served coleslaw. And I was like, well, it's not no good. It was good.
Okay.
No. Wonton's coleslaw is sweet. I was like, oh, I didn't know y'all
know how
made
to
it.
make coleslaw.
Right. But
I didn't even know they had coleslaw.
yeah. Somebody told me, but I'm sorry, I got off topic on that. But with the community and us coming together to show these events and show us participating in what's going on, I just feel like we'd do so much better.
In this event, it's gonna, if we hold it right, if we do it properly, we can get that age group. What is it? 18 to 45. That's the demographics that we really have to get out and vote. Educate them on the voting procedures. We have to educate on civics. You know, I don't believe they have the civics class.
Civics is missing.
Yeah. You know, if you know
Civics is missing.
civics, you know, we can get back to that. Maybe that's something we can have a Saturday class on. But how are we going to get the people there? There's a lot of steps to it. You know.
Things that are coming along. Our political action chair, Reverend Harper, he said people in my age group, the 18 to 45, is missing.
Yes.
So he's like, how are we going to bring them in, especially the young black male?
Yes, they've unsubscribed. And speaking for the young black men, because that is one of my focuses. I have 5 daughters, y'all. So don't think that I'm over here this what do y'all call it, toxic masculine guy. No, I'm a father and I'm a man. You know, so I carry myself in a manner. I am not perfect by a long shot. I've done plenty of wrong, but I've done, I believe, more right.
Okay.
So with civics, remember you guys were talking about civics. They're taking all of these things out.
Oh, yeah.
And we're afraid to talk about it. And I'm not going to talk about it today, you know, but we're afraid to talk about it because now there's so many lines to it. It's like, oh, well, you know, you can't do this because you exclude this. We can't get back to facts. If we're all jumbled in, right, and everybody's pulling from the same basis of our standpoint. Remember, we were the ones here in America that had to start pushing forward first. We were considered as not a person.
That's
right?
Right.
And our ancestors had to fight for what they had.
That's right.
Now, you go back into history. Slavery ends, right? We didn't just vanish.
No.
What we did was they started towns. They started little cities, right?
Yes.
And these are the things you don't learn in the history books because every time we had unity, we had our own banks, we had our own
Yeah.
theater.
Yes.
What did they do? They destroyed it.
Exactly.
And then they buried that. No, we don't want to talk about that in history. So we're led to believe, this is why our 18 and 45, this range is, we're led to believe that the only thing we remember that we were taught was slavery.
Right.
That
Right.
we never created anything.
Right.
Right.
So when you take that creation from people, what do you expect your youth to start thinking about themselves? It's like, well, dang, we got freedom. We never created nothing. We didn't ever have cities like Rosewood,
Yeah.
Oscarville,
Yeah.
Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Alabama.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know. Just now we're having a celebration in the United States about Juneteenth, even though it's been here for how long?
Oh, my.
Go ahead, Mr. Rose.
But one of the things I was thinking is that that's where we need to have a great deal more private sector things happening. And what I mean by that is that I remember when I was coming up, there were my sister would come back from Atlanta. You know, she'd been to the, some place like the Shrine of the Black Madonna, wherever, or some black bookstore down in Atlanta, and she'd be bringing me coloring books with all of these characters in them that I didn't see, even in our regular, before all this issue of sort of canceling material out of books and removing black history out of books. When we were coming up, the thing about it is we still needed an infusion from the private sector of people that understood that these were specific issues that we needed help about. You know the old saying, I hate to say it here, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Say it, please.
Where basically they say, hey, you want to hide something from black folks, put it in a book kind of thing.
That's right.
Well, the fact of the matter is those are core things that we need to go back to, even if we're not just using book platforms as books as the platform. We have all types of media. We have YouTube.
You mean like Black Kings?
Exactly. Just exactly like that. All kind of resources that we can use. And I'm not talking about people who get online and they just want to throw out poison and they just want to disrupt. I'm talking about real powerful content that can be put out there for people to better understand themselves as a group, as a culture. We have the ability to do that, but we like to talk about a lot of other things, like how somebody else has a problem and we don't.
Yeah,
we like to spend a lot of time on that kind of stuff.
Yes, we want to talk about Diddy.
Yes,
we want to be distracted. Weird. I got to bring this up, but weird thing happened around before Diddy. A day before that, Russia had released their saints. Right? They opened their vaults and it showed that all their saints were non-ether. They were black. Right? And then the day after, then they want to raid Diddy's house and they blow up some bridges. Because think about this. You haven't heard anything else about those bridges?
No.
And did you know it was 4 of them?
No.
In succession. So you mean to tell me after all these years of these boats going through there, just within a month or within a 2-week time period, you got 4?
Wow.
Isn't that a trip?
Yeah.
And you didn't hear too much about it?
No. No, I didn't hear it.
They covered it.
And that's why our youth aren't looking in books, because they took the joy of us researching it because we didn't believe we had a history.
Yeah, it's sad.
We didn't believe we had a history, and now they want us to forget about it. They want us to act like, oh, well, now that didn't affect you. Well, now things have changed now. Listen to me. If I would have known, because the whole time I'm thinking Egyptians were white.
How about that?
Hey, I'm serious, y'all. And to all my Caucasian kings and queens out there, I'm just telling the truth. You can fact check me. And by asking me, yes, I grew up because the films that I watched, yes, even when we discussed it in classrooms, it wasn't depicted over. They were people of color. It was depicted as they were Caucasians.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're a child growing up and you think that you're already the bottom of the barrel, basically from history, the only thing that you were taught was you're from Africa, and then the pictures that they show you of Africa weren't beautiful. It was all destruction. It was all about our own people unaliving each other. Savages, right? You the Uka Buka.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Right. Oh, yeah.
So now that I'm finding out, hold up.
Right.
You mean we're the descendants of great people?
Of kings and queens.
Of kings and queens.
Yes.
And now our youth are growing up, and you got to understand how they disassemble the household also.
Yes.
I had a guest on here, I believe, matter of fact, it was Al Williams. I asked him, because a lot of people don't recall it because it's not things that they just think about. But the government, it was Lyndon B. Johnson, which was a staunch racist, right?
Yes.
But he also was a Democratic president that introduced welfare.
Yes.
Now, in that, he signed that bill, he had to, but he had put in place some things. They used to go to people's houses, black people's houses, and ask the wife, hey, are you married? Is your husband? And they say, yes, I'm married. And they would offer, look, well, if he doesn't stay here, and he's out of
Right.
this house, we'll give you $25 a week.
Right.
So the husband come home from working and he only getting $5 a week, and she said, "Baby, we can get 25 if you don't live here." He moves out. There begins the separation of the family,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Right.
So now, when that happens, they come back and check behind them. Like, I can't see no shoes, no clothes.
Exactly.
These are things that they don't want to teach now. No shoes, no clothes. Now, when you look at where we went, especially when they started giving these Section 8 housing, government housing, right? There's no unity. Now, when you look at somebody else might say they stay in a trailer park. But guess what? In that trailer park, they can keep their entire family.
Exactly.
Daddy, mama, cousin, sister, everybody can stay in that household. But where we were in the projects,
Right.
you better not have a man in there. What you
Right.
need a man for? We got you. We'll give you that. And they started separating our households.
Exactly.
These are the discussions that nobody wants to have. They get upset with me when I bring it up because they don't understand that I love our queens.
Yes.
Man, our queens, what would we do? Because President Miss Lisa Thomas, the way that you can describe someone or something that you're passionate about, in our black women, you're so powerful, it resonates. Because not only do people listen, they feel you. That's why they a lot of movements that start, they have to piggyback off of a non-ether woman, because that non-ether woman is going to get that message across.
Yes.
Right.
Now, me, I can get a message across, but I'm more of a brute force. And sometimes I need that correction, like, no, baby, no, hold on now.
Right.
Calm down, because you trying to beat the wall down. Let me just talk the drawers off. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's where the unity is, but accountability is hard.
Right.
Accountability is hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying, we have to bring back unity in our community. It's just a must do. We have to bring our student debt down. We have so many young people, because all lives are important, but black lives
Yes.
do matter, right?
Yes.
We have to remove that student debt, that burden on our young people. We have to re-educate our young adults, that 18 to 45 groups area, and let them know they are needed, they are valued. That group of people, they're built different.
Yeah.
They're
You better
built
believe
different.
it.
They think differently the way I think, or you think, or you think, or you think. They're a completely different age. They completely social media, you know?
Right.
We have to, we got to bring them back.
Yes.
We have to re-educate them.
How would we bridge the connection without them getting the information? I want people to know about the communities that we formed. I want them to know how they were destroyed and then nobody talked about it. And when you're talking about civics, that would have been something that should have been talked about in civics. And I believe that they started trying to remove that because they knew that the darkness would come out. And United States, understand this. There's no perfect place.
Right.
There's no perfect place. But if we're in the United States, I feel that if we're so responsible for everyone else and we're trying to be the big daddy over here, telling everybody what they should be doing and what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, why aren't we holding it accountability for what went wrong?
Exactly.
We don't have the wealth that other people have. We had to figure out a way to use the system in order to get by. So our mentality stuck there and we never got a chance to trust. We never got a chance to trust. I remember people saying, don't put your money in them banks, baby. They're going to take your money.
Yeah.
So here we are, mattress money. Something happened, we got a little mattress money. We don't know how to invest. We don't even know how to do taxes. They don't have tax class in school, but they expect you to know all the forms.
One
You
of,
see?
one of the greatest problems, and this is a human problem. It's not, you can go across any race, any culture or people. One of the biggest problems is the fact that we tend to operate in isolation. I'm just talking about human beings in general.
Yes.
You know, because if you think about it, how many discussions do you actually have with your personal friends, people that you know, family, about money?
No.
I mean, think about it. Do you have those discussions,
No.
generally speaking?
I didn't grow up with that.
Do you have discussions about other real strong content matters, such as raising kids? Well, you might have talked about how you whipped them or you did something like that, but there's not really a lot of what I would call construct, where people literally understand that there are patterns and practices. Like normally when I do my my radio broadcast on 94.9, there's two segments I have in there. One calling Family Fortress. The other one that stands out in my mind is Pre-Mighty Matrimony. And the reason I discuss those two things, because they're near and dear to me, and I know that there is serious construct problems in terms of family dynamics, leadership in family, how that leadership is, and particularly, like you said, we have a lot of broken family situations. So you have patriarchal or matriarchal families. Sometimes, a lot of times, those couples are not even together. I mean, when I'm in school, I'm talking to kids. I got to be careful. I'm like, who do you live with? When I'm substitute teaching, I'm saying, do you live? And I have to go through the list. I say, do you live with your mother, your father, or both? Just so I don't, so to speak, offend anybody or bring up any extra discussion. But we're missing the basic tenets of the faith that I adhere to. Where the scriptures say, train up a child in the way that he should go,
and when he gets old,
he won't depart.
That's right.
And other things that have to do with family systems, that if we looked at a biblical context and we really operated in those things, it would change a lot of things for a lot of people in a lot of communities. But what we do, we're good hearers, but we're not necessarily good doers.
Exactly.
Action.
Exactly.
We'll go to church, we'll get a good word, and the implementation is the thing that becomes the issue, that it isn't done like it needs to be done. That's just a little bit of it.
Yes. And man, I could talk to you guys for hours. Look, the separation though, that I keep hitting on, I want you guys to take that and hear where I'm going with it. Because I know that's the separation that we have between the generations.
Yes.
You guys, y'all sat in, you marched, you took hold of a movement. All right? Now, because of propaganda, because of agendas, what they've done is they pick kids apart. Right? They pick them apart with their emotions so that they'll forget about one common cause. They'll pick at their emotions for them to join another type of movement using the tactics that we've already taught. Right? And then they gain strength while we get weaker because they're pulling out our people. They're literally telling them that, oh, well, they won't accept you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I don't accept you. Exactly. Are you crazy? No, they'll put out this. Oh well, if you go back and you feel a certain way. Oh, they're not going to accept you. Look, you're crazy. Y'all are crazy to believe that you are not welcomed in the NAACP. Right. You're crazy to believe that you're not welcome to sit at the table with everyone.
Gotta come to
we can sit down and talk. We might not agree about anybody's lifestyle. That has nothing to do with me. I love you.
Exactly. All lives matter.
Yes.
Period. Full stop.
Yeah.
All lives matter. And if you're not at the table, you're gonna be on the menu.
On the menu.
So all lives matter.
Now, go ahead, Ms. Gwen.
Not only do all lives matter, and when you're coming to the table and you see that there's no seat for you, make sure you bring your own seat.
Bring your own chair. Chris Reed, what's going on, sir, Chief?
Because you have to be at the table.
Yes,
right. You have to be at the table.
And I was hitting on. Oh, this is how I try to put it to everyone that encounters. Like, because I've heard this and I've heard that. I say, I'll tell you what. I want you to go stand on the block. Just stand with the traffic going by and everything. And I want you to look around. I want you to look out about 25 to 50 yards. Tell me the first thing you're going to recognize about a person. Well, I'm going to I'm gonna know what color. Yeah, you're gonna know what color they are. You don't know who they love. You don't know who they like. You don't know what their beliefs is. You know what color they are. The same way that if you had a police officer who was not for the community, that would ride by, doesn't know who you are, they just let me go check on. Let me see what they got going on. That's what we're talking about, because that's the way the world works. People just don't have a psychic ability, but they do know. Well, we've been taught that they're threats. We've been taught that they're gangsters. We've been taught that they're women allowed. We've been taught that we can get away with a lot. So that's how what you said is they're making us weaker while they're getting stronger and pulling our youth away.
Right.
You know, Mark, right now there is a Project 25 and they are out to destroy us. Totally destroy us. I'm just going to start it with this and then we're going to expand it. Just like women's reproductive rights. You know, when a woman doesn't have the right to decide what to do with her own body, it's just that's just completely insane. That's completely insane. When someone can get on stage at a commencement and say, women, with all your achievements, with all your education, with all the things you have accomplished in life, only thing you're good for is to go home and have babies, be a housekeeper. How that's so insulting.
That's insulting. That's a part of them still ripping our families apart, because they will teach that and say that is what men think, right? But a lot of people fail to realize that's what I don't make a law.
But young people,
you know what I'm saying?
But young people, they don't care. This group between 18 and 45, they don't care. They just go, they said that. So I'm going to still go buy my son his $200 tennis shoe. and then you have a governor in Florida who says slavery was beneficial.
Which is ridiculous.
Oh.
And I always say they're focused on name brands. But why are you willing to invest in that name and not even your own?
Yes.
Right. What are you doing with your name? Yes. Because, see, you're helping them make their money, but who's helping you make yours?
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up, especially about names. Our leaders are being torn apart, even when they God rest their souls, are not even here. Yeah. I have a clip. I'm going to let you guys see it. I have a clip, and our engineer is about to bring it up, that I want you guys to see. And it's talking about one of our great leaders, and they have these people that will jump in and back it right up and have us tearing against each other. So, Mr. Engineer, cut everything and play the clip.
You know what the first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award?
No.
Martin Luther King, 1966.
I didn't know that. Margaret Sanger was not a friend to the community, as we say.
Planned Parenthood and the Negro Project. She called us human weeds. The communists in America were given instructions to turn the black community into a direct opposite of the Soviet bloc. And they've done it. One-party rule, dictator worship, apostate religion, poverty, drug abuse, government dependency. It's a third world country and a first world country. The black community in something like Haiti or worse. And it started out with Martin Luther King Jr., whose whole life was a ditty party. Orgies and broken and fighting and whipping up on women. Martin Luther King Jr. make a ditty party look like a Catholic convent school.
Ever loved you, lady.
Yes. Now, just seeing that right there, seeing that and having to hear somebody tear down the Honorable Martin Luther King.
It's sad. It's sad. You know what? First of all, he was paid to do that.
Of course.
He was paid to do that, and God rest his soul, because he's going to be judged when that time comes. He will be judged. And the sad part about it, we have people who believe that nonsense.
Yes. And that's the thing.
Yeah. And that's because society, the social media, a group of people, the Heritage Foundation, has decided that they are going to destroy us. Yes. If you take away my knowledge, you take away my books, you take away anything that can teach me, then I'm just going to follow you. They blindly put things on Facebook because we don't read. We just want to look at pictures, and they make the pictures like fun, and they do these nonsense
Yes.
TV shows, So yeah, it's sad, but that's where we fall in at. And we educate them and say, no, that's fake information.
How do we get them to listen to
on
it,
your show?
President?
We have shows like you and
Yes.
people like you who have these outlets.
And to say it over and over and over again
Yes.
Yes.
until we get their attention and get them to realize. But unfortunately, with that gentleman there, he's not the first one.
I was going to say that. It's so bad on TikTok, you guys. But go ahead, Miss Gwen. I apologize.
I mean, there's always those few, even from the times of slavery.
Yes.
You had those who were content.
The Uncle Toms.
Yes.
Yeah, we can say what it. They was cooning. Yes, they were. We can say it.
They were like, no, we got it good here. We don't want to run. And then they would go and tell.
Yes.
And then you have someone like this gentleman who continues to tear down. Where does that get him?
He gets bread in his pocket.
Yeah. Martin Luther King's, I believe his sister, and one of his sisters was also a big critic of him, who became a Trumper. I'm going to use that name, became a Trumper, and started saying horrible things about Dr. King. So, he's not the first, and he won't be the last, But that's where you fall in and we fall in. We have to use tools that you have, resources and tools that you have, and we just have to open up our mouths and speak a little louder.
We can't stop.
Yeah, we can.
Yes. And when we speak a little bit louder, we got to stand on business.
Yeah.
That means those lines that we have to keep setting back. We need to place that line there, and that's what it is.
Yes.
And if nobody gets it, or if somebody tries to pick it apart to find something that's wrong with it, we have to say we don't care, because that's what they're doing. Their agenda is being spread by them standing on their own business. We don't care about what people are saying about Dr. King. We don't care what they're saying about Malcolm X. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, to your point, I think the thing that we have to understand is that all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So all of us have failures, whatever the case is. But what is happening a lot of times is we'll take a person like Dr. King, who had an enormous impact, not just on the United States, not just on black people, but really the world. And there's some people who would look to denigrate him completely through things that they may have seen or understood to be problems or difficulties or whatever the case is.
Yes.
Not understanding that if we can go back and we can look at the Apostle Paul.
Yes.
We can go back and look at almost every person in Scripture who was somebody who had failure, shortcomings, they missed the mark, whatever the case is, and try to emphasize those things as being the issues that we need to be focused on. No, we need to be focused on what they brought to the table that brought change and brought a deliverance to a people, to a nation. In many ways. A lot of, even speaking of presidents, when we talked about Lyndon Baines Johnson, one of the most interesting things that he ever said was that when Dr. King did his I Have a Dream speech, it was like a switch went off in his head, more or less. That's not the words he used. But all of a sudden, this man who was a blatant racist and an attitude and calling folks the N-words right on public meetings and that kind of thing, all of a sudden there was a shift because something happened in that ministering in his heart. But not just him, not just Lyndon Baines Johnson, but a lot of people all of a sudden saw things differently. And so we just got to remember that we have to refocus people attention. And somebody want to say, well, so-and-so had a problem. I said, well, have you had a problem? Did you do anything wrong in life? Do you want everybody to focus on that, or do you want to focus on the things that you bring to the table that are going to change and transform lives?
The truth is never better than the lie.
How about that?
The truth is never better than the lie. And I need help. Y'all gonna have to help redirect me, because I've been learning a lot of things, right? I've learned a lot of things, and I'm not gonna talk about it on this show, but I've learned a lot of things that have me just, I'm in this like I'm paused. You don't know how to go about anything anymore, because if you do speak up, the first thing somebody wants to do is they want to look at the bad. They want to try to get, oh no, but what they were really saying. No, you can't tell me what I'm saying. I'm telling you what I'm saying.
Right.
And if I said that and I meant it the way that you're trying to depict it, then I would say it that way.
Right.
But I didn't. And we're going to keep running into these roadblocks until we set our standards. Standards are not there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the standard was, if your mama went to church or your daddy went to church, you were getting your butt up and you were going to church.
Exactly.
The standard was, if your mother took you to an event for a political thing, you were getting your butt up and going. It wasn't well, this ain't for kids. Why you bring your baby here?
Right.
Because I want my baby to see that
Exactly.
how people gather. I spoke about my mother being a part of the Buttercup Garden Club, right? Those were organizations that they had things to do
Right.
as a community, and it was like family structured. It wasn't just a whole bunch of house parties, if you say.
Right.
We had house parties, but hey, you got people that like to do that every day, and you know what they do now. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So,
right.
but then you have people that don't want to do that,
Right.
and they want to have wholesome, loving, family structured things, and they've taken that out of our community because we butt heads.
Yeah.
If you and I were back in the day, we'd be butting heads. Say you had my baby and you were, he ain't no good.
Right.
I don't need him. That's where we're at now. We got to bring that in, y'all.
Yes.
Right,
Yes. Yes.
You were about to say something, Ms. Thomas.
Oh, I was just saying that when we were talking about doing things in the community, I know Liberty, we're lacking activities for our youth, but also you can gather up the kids and go to the park and play some baseball.
Yes.
You know, we didn't have a phone, but we found things to do. We didn't have go-karts. I'm born and raised in Detroit. You know, we got a shopping cart. I'm not saying go to Kroger and get a shopping cart.
No, I get you.
But you know what? We had a shopping cart, and we would roll that sucker. You know, sometimes in the fall you get cut up, but you put it in and kept going. You kept playing. We played kickball. We played baseball. We didn't have to have pinball machines or anything. We played jacks. There are things to do. You just have to use your imagination until we get those things. You know, Liberty County is growing.
Yes, it is.
And you need to come to join the NAACP so we can help grow Liberty County on all aspects. Because I'm going to tell you one thing about Liberty County. We are unique. Where can you go? You can go to Kroger, Walmart, the Dollar Store, Piggly Wiggly, wherever, and see your county commissioner, your mayor.
That is true.
Any mayor in the area, any county commissioner, any city council member.
And you can talk to them.
And talk to them.
Yes.
As you stand in line buying milk.
Yes.
You know? So we are unique. But if we don't come together as a community, we're going to be like other communities across our line, our county line.
It's interesting. We kind of was talking about the family situation and the breakdown and some of those. This past week, my focus was on the parental heads in a household, whether that's a person that's a guardian, whether they're biological or parents by marriage or whatever the case is, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as the old saying goes. So there has to be a thing where family units and the person, and I'm going to really say that the man should be the solid, responsible party in the household. But as we know, not all households have a patriarchal figure in the house. But the main thing being that this generation that we're seeing right now is an exact model of what effectively they have seen in their households and the leadership that's provided by us that are the parents.
What a word.
And if we don't do what we're supposed to do, we look at this, man, these kids are different. Man, these kids are this, that, and the other, so forth. And I'm remembering the commercial, not picking on you now.
You're fine.
You didn't have but the kid was sitting down by the tree and he had a cigarette in his mouth or whatever. I can't remember what it was. And the dad was like, "Where did you get that from, son?" I got it from you.
Yeah.
You're right.
And so that's kind of what we're dealing with. And until we walk in the fear of the Lord as parents and as leaders. And I'm talking about literally walk in the fear of. Not hear a good message, that sounded great, repent on Sunday, and then we do whatever we want to do the rest of the week. You know, we have to kind of have a real contrite spirit where we're really looking to advance change in our kids, and then we'll have a better nation, we'll have a better community, we'll have a better things happening without ethnic groups and all that stuff, and with people in general.
You're right, and even with what you were saying with the figureheads and everything, I know that there's a big dilemma. If nobody likes the word submission, let's say yield, because I have to yield to my wife. My wife yields to me.
You better, huh?
Yeah. You have to yield to each other.
Yes.
And yielding is not it doesn't have to be forceful when everybody realizes, hey, no, it's not okay, I got you. Look, I let everybody beat up on me because I don't want them to beat up on y'all. That's my role. Okay?
Exactly.
And sometimes I need my wounds licked. I need to feel loved. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, our men need to learn how to love their women. You need to learn how to love your queen, because a lot of times I know you guys get out here and the only thing you can really think of is, man, my day was messed up. This didn't go right. That didn't go right. This didn't go right. Then you go home and now you taking that out, and now you done changed her attitude. Now she mad with you, and now the whole house is in chaos because we don't know how to yield. You just said that basically what you said is they being taught different. I learned by watching you. You look at what they have, people that's less fortunate in maybe Section 8 and everything. Do you realize there's 2 to 3 generations out there now? All right. So you got 2 to 3 generations because you can't stay there with a full family. So these are broken homes. So these kids grow up there and they become what we call the OGs, the original gangsters. Right. So when you got the OGs out there that's teaching the new youth the same stuff that they learned, which was not too much. All right. If they're still there, then where are we going? We're keeping the cycle going. Because I know some single family homes that are tremendously good. And it comes because they have a background or they have things in place and they understand that it's not all about what the world is talking about that you should be doing. It's about what you want your family to do, where you want your family to go. And when we get that, because you're a mentor, you're a mentor, you're a mentor, I'm a mentor. We have so many people out here that can mentor to get people to the right area. But if we keep being taught to separate, it'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
I just got to give a shout out. Our secretary, she has 3 grown kids, all in college. And then she has a 7-year-old. She's a single parent. And I'm going to tell you, what she does is tremendous. Every time I look at her and I look at her kids, I just go, wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
You know how much work that takes?
Wow.
She's amazing.
The oldest one just graduated from Howard, on his way to Michigan as a law student. Her middle one is going into her 3rd year at Mercer, and then the 3rd one is going into his 2nd year at Georgia, and then we got the 7-year-old. But you know, it's just I just commend her on what she's doing, and then holding down a full-time job.
And it didn't happen by accident.
No, it takes a lot. That's why I know that every person can't do it, and then that's why I'm saying that some people need help. You got some strong people like her that can do it. She's got the mental awareness. She's got this going. She can do it. But you know, that's the rarity. So what about the other 93% that need help? We have to have things in place where people feel safe to be able to come to people that could help them in their situation. And we have to have the mental awareness to know how to get them on board without them just taking advantage of it. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times you want to help folks, but you don't, because you're like, they're not even listening. They're just trying to gain what they can gain right then and then go. Then it's no end to a good result. And that's discouraging to a lot of people. So if we can have that fortitude in our mind to say, no, we're gonna stick with them. We're gonna do this. That's why I commend the 11 black men.
Oh yeah.
The Eastern Stars.
Yes.
The Deltas, the AKAs. You have a lot of fraternities that do things, but I want to see
come together.
There you say you see where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Look to your neighbor and say neighbor togetherness. Look to your neighbor and say togetherness.
Yes.
Imagine all of that power in one arena.
Yes.
And they could come to the NAACP.
Come on.
It doesn't. Even if everybody doesn't have to come, send a representative. Get that representative's membership taken care of to be a part of the program, so that everybody's sitting at the table. The AKAs, the Q Dogs, the Deltas, the Kappas, everybody, 11 black men, everybody be a part of this one organization so we can have one common goal. Right? One common goal with many different efforts.
Yes.
When you have many different efforts going towards a goal, how fast can you reach it?
Wow. That's the thing when we have this I don't know if we're gonna call it a forum, this sit down at the table with all these organizations and groups. We're gonna break it down. You guys be in charge of transportation. You guys be charge of flyers. Because everybody has something what you're special in. I'm special in running my mouth. That's something I'm good. I'm good at.
Public relations.
We can call public relations. We'll do running my mouth. Or Gwen is a great speaker. Bernard he's a great speaker too. And we all have our things that we do great.
Yes.
And you figure all these people at this table. Do you
Share
Do
it.
you know how effective we could be from the month of September to November when these elections come? We have AKAs and Deltas and Sigmas, whoever, who are educators.
Yes.
And they can be responsible of picking a politician and giving you the background.
There you go.
It's because we need.
We need all of it.
President, what you just say? President, she just came up with a fire. That's free game.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all are listening, kings and queens. Now you've been challenged and charged. Listen, I would like to hear from everyone in all the. I want to hear from the bike clubs. I want to hear from the any club that you got that you're meeting in mass. I want to hear from you guys to get a representative, because just like we got to take this thing back to school, we can have our own school system and us teach it. Because if we come under that one organization and we say, hey, look here, chosen riders, we want you guys to give out the free game about this politician, and also you can give out game about the other one to make it fair, so people can make a common assessment of each person. But yes, we need to get the information out there.
Yes.
And we can teach it. What they say, each one teach one. Right? Each one teach one.
Reach one.
Reach one.
Yes.
So think about that. You each one, you reach one.
How about that?
That one, each one,
Yeah.
you reach one. And the process keeps going over and over again, because that's how they got us on all this other things.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's how they got us to believe in watching the Diddy cases instead of watching ourselves and what's going on around us. Yeah. We can do it.
We can do it. We even thought about having a picnic in September because you can't start too soon, because you got the 4th of July. Everybody's worried about how many hot dogs they got to bake. And then school starts in August, And then you're worried about the kids, got to get the kids' clothes. And then September you got Labor Day. So you can't do it right then.
But we got to ramp it up.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up, and we got to get busy.
Yes.
We got to get busy. And that's what we have to maybe have a picnic. And the theme will be education. I don't know, but we'll eat some hot dogs and eat some barbecue, and we'll have little side. You can play spades and talk politics. Talk about the man who's running for whomever up in Atlanta, the judge and whatever in Atlanta, because they're on the ballot. They're on the ballot, and we're voting for people who we have no idea who we're voting for.
I don't know who that is, but they'll put a mark there
Put a mark
anyway.
on it.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, I know some people just go for the incumbent. Well, he been now.
Yeah.
He been now. Oh, there go my homeboy. That's who I came to vote
And
for.
that's the saddest part. And that's the saddest part.
Yep.
That's the worst. That's the worst mark right there.
Yeah.
But we have to do something. Like I keep going, 18 to 45. Let's see, I vote, you vote, you vote, you vote. We vote. But it's the people who don't vote that, and then they don't vote, but yet they have things to say about.
A lot to say.
Quick, fast, in a hurry, too.
Right. So we have to reach them. We got to reach them. We got to reach them.
Look, y'all, I enjoyed it. Look, we done ran over, but I don't care. We enjoying ourselves because everything you guys have said today really makes sense, and it touches me to know that it is adamant people out here about getting us together.
Yes.
It encourages me. It gives me a new energy to really go out there and even be more impactful. So I really appreciate it. And right now, you remember where your cameras are.
Right.
We're going to have a part where you give your message to the people that you want to say to encourage them, tell them something that they can do to do better or whatever you choose to do. President Thomas, please let them know.
Okay. Well, thank you, first of all, Mark, for having us here today. But I would like Liberty County, all of Liberty County, to go to this website. It's Georgia Secretary of State. Secretary of State. It's sos.ga.gov. And that's the voter registration page. You're going to look for the voter registration page. And it's very easy. You're going to go in, you're going to put your first initial, your last name, your date of birth, and the county that you live in, which is Liberty County. It's going to populate, and it's going to give you all your information. And I want you to double check it. I want you to triple check it. I want you to make sure that your name is spelled right, that your address is correct. Everything that you do, I want you to make sure it's there. It's going to tell you about all your voting practices, every time you voted. But you got to make sure, because in come September, they're going to start removing people off the voting roster again. Okay, so you got to double check that information. Then I want you to go to your husbands, your daughters, your sons, and then tell a friend about doing it. But our main thing is, anybody can register to vote. But if you don't have the education, a voter registration means nothing because you're not being you're not participating. So remember, voter education, voter registration, voter participation. And if you need any kind of help, call me. I'm more than happy. I think everybody has my phone number in Liberty County. Call me. I'll be able to help you. I'll walk you through it. And be ready to bring your chair to the table. Because come August, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a true conversation, a heart-to-heart with everybody running for office, in office. If you're a community activist, if you're just a person in the community, come to the table, bring a lawn chair, because we're going to talk. Thank you once again.
Yes. Now, Ms. Gwen, if there's anything you would like to tell those kings and queens out there, this is your time to share.
Liberty County, all of Liberty County, your vote matters. It doesn't help when you just register. You have to put some action to that. Join us at the NAACP to learn who these people are. If you don't know, we will find out for you. We will help you know. It is very, very important that you realize and hold on to the fact that you matter. We matter. Your vote matters. Don't let anyone convince you that it's no big deal. It is a very big deal, because if it was not, they would not be trying to take it away from us.
What a word.
Yes.
We are more powerful together than we are apart. So come on out and join us. We got work to do. And there is room in this vineyard for everyone.
Everybody come pick your muscadine. Look, that's Ms. Gwen Myers, and that's the political action.
Yes.
And you can hear the action in her voice.
Yes.
Mr. Rose, what is it that you would like to tell those kings and queens out there?
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for listening in, and we appreciate Brother Mosley inviting us in to share with you all. And we had a lot of substantive talk about some things, and some things that really stood out in his heart. And I could hear the message about unity in the family and sort of the deconstruct that's happened to the family over the years. And those are things that are going to be ever before us, that we have to find solutions to through gathering at the table and coming up with ways to bring changes to help our young people develop better, become wiser, smarter than we are, because they had a late start to begin with. I mean, you have to think about it. The Civil Rights Act was, 1965? We're not talking about that long ago.
No, it's not.
You know, and I grew up with a lot of racial incidences. I grew up in Orangeburg, South Carolina, where we had the Orangeburg Massacre.
All right,
27 students shot, 3 of them killed by state troopers. So there was a lot of things going on. So it's really a passionate thing to understand that we have to think about what we need to do to bring change. We have to think about what we have to do to administer justice in a righteous way in dealing with our government, with our governmental officials, and the voting things that these ladies have brought to the table are critical that we need to look at. But also, just sharing on behalf of my president, I'm the vice president, but she is our fearless leader, Ms. Lisa Thomas, that we need you to consider joining the Liberty County NAACP. The NAACP needs new voices. It needs new reckoning and understanding to help build the organization from where it was to where it needs to be now, and that we're dealing with all the issues that we need to. And it's not just for African American people. The organization stands for anyone and will stand with folks who there's a civil rights violation pertaining to them that we can stand and we can do something about. We'll do that for anybody. So we just want to say that again. Thank you this evening for listening. God bless.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you guys, the vice president and president, and a political action. I really do. I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate the realness. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the determination. I appreciate the things that you've been through and you're teaching that we would never experience in person, because you taught us to recognize it before it even happened. And I appreciate you guys still standing strong after all of these years, because I know that you've seen up and down, but you're still going strong.
Still going.
Still going.
Still going.
Ain't no stopping.
That's
No
right.
stopping.
So, guys, it's our time to help. We got to get in the fold. We got to become the unity. We got to become the mind. And we got to become our progress. If we're not going to become our progress, what are we really doing? Because a lot of things will help you regress. Everything will help you regress. Everything's there to distract you, to get away from your common goal. Things are there from that money that you want to be a millionaire, but you keep spending on shoes. Hey, everyone's guilty of it. I am too. But once we start realizing that one mind will go far with different reactions and different bringings to the table, like strength and unity really counts. So kings and queens out there, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to go to YouTube, type in Black Kings Free Game, subscribe for me, and I appreciate you guys. It's King Conda, the people's champ. I'll see you later, and we're out.